Hi, welcome to Get a Clue Casual Gamer, where we get a clue, CLUE, about a game or a list of games, and today is definitely a list of games. In fact, if you saw the little picture there, the little blurb that I put out, I took a picture with this, with Yahtzee, because today we're going to be looking at 32 Roland Rights games, and Yahtzee is not the only one or even the best one. So today's I want to do a little intro to this list. 3 years ago I owned 2 Roland Rights, Yahtzee and one other. That's it. Those are the only Roland Rights I owned. And in the last 3 years, it's gone from 2 to 32. How did that happen? We're going to get a little bit of that story here. But the reason why I am going to give you a hint about all of the ones I have is, first of all, I enjoy them all. But even the ones that I like less than others might be exactly what you're looking for, because my favorite very often will not turn out to be your favorite. So I want to give you a chance to get to know a lot of different roll and write / flip and write games. Okay, we're going to start with Yahtzee, because I actually going to be doing 2 lists. One is my top 10 and one is the other 22. And the other 22 are going to be in alphabetical order, Yahtzee being the last one. But being that Yahtzee is the first one out of all of these, it came out in 1956, so it's older than me, and I'm older than dirt. But Yahtzee is a good game. I enjoy it. There's a little bit of, there's a lot of chance, but there's also some decisions to be made and choices. So, it's okay. It's set collection and push your luck. I'll be talking about set collections and pushing your luck in other descriptions, but for now, we'll just get Yahtzee out of the way. And now we're going to start alphabetically with the other 21 games on this list. All great games, all great roll and writes or flip and writes, and I'll tell you which they are. And what my goal is to just spend a minute, maybe 2, on each one of these 21 games, and then spend a couple minutes on each of my top 10. That way it gives you a look at all sorts of different roll and write games, from the very easiest, like comparing it to Old Maid as easy, to the more difficult ones that are more like on the card game level of Rook, or even maybe a step above Parcheesi. Only 2 of them are outside of the casual level, and alphabetically they end up being the last 2, so besides Yahtzee. So we'll get to them when we get to the end of this list. Let's begin with Bloom. I just heard Bloom being mentioned on somebody's list of some sort recently. I've had it for a while. It's a dice game. It came out in 2019, so it's about 4 years old. It is called a set collection grid covering game. You have dice, and when you roll them, you're going to pick die. Let's say you pick the 4 in pink. You could go and circle out these 4 pink flowers, and then it's someone else's turn. I mean, it's very simple. That's what you're doing in this game. Bloom 2019, it plays 1 to 5 players, so you can play solo. Basically, beat your own score type of game. Bloom. I have so many piles around me. Second, Castles of Burgundy, the dice game. Of course, I have Castles of Burgundy, and I know there is a Castles of Burgundy card game, but Castles of Burgundy dice game obviously is a dice game. It came out in 2017. It is a set collection, grid cover, and path maker, kind of. The wonderful part about it is that it takes up very little space. Castles of Burgundy can take up a pretty good table. The Castles of Burgundy card game takes a lot of table. This can be done on a TV, on the little tray in an airplane. It's that small space that you need. You have the dice that will give you colors and numbers. You'll be entering them, choosing little hexagons there. Yep, they're hexagons. And putting that number in depending on the color. And that is this game. You're trying to get the best score and beat everyone else at. It also plays 1 to 5. And it's a great way of playing Castles of Burgundy without pulling out everything to play Castles of Burgundy. The next one is Corinth. Corinth came out in 2019. It is a set collection and commodities type of game. You're going to be rolling dice and placing them in a certain order on this little ramp type thing of commodities. Each one represents a different commodity. And you're going to choose and X out what it is you chose. And you're trying to get sets of things so that you can get more and get more. I don't know if it's much of an engine builder or not. I can't remember. But it is a great set collection, and it's all about commodities in ancient Corinth, in Greece. That is Corinth. This next one, in Corinth plays 2 to 4. So it really, I did play it once by myself, playing 2 people, because there's no solo for it right now. But if there is one, if there's one that you've heard of on BGG, make a note in the comments to let me know, because I kind of like the game, but it's hard to play when it's just me. Now, this one has a story behind it. It plays 2 to 5 players. It came out last year in 2022. It is a route builder, and it makes connections, and it's a bingo style game. The story behind it is that 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when I last really delved into the Roland Rights world, I know there's a video that I put up a while ago, over a year ago, on that I had created after being curious about Roland Rights and wanted to figure out which ones should I buy, because I owned 2, Yahtzee and one other. And so I went and watched 25 to 30 separate videos of people's top 3 to top 10 of Roland Rights. Only Roland Rights. I watched all the English ones I could find, going 3 years back. I mean, I did piles of these. English, Spanish, French, and German. I don't speak German. I understand very little French. I am bilingual, so the English and Spanish was no problem. And the French, I could figure it out, and the German, by that time, I had watched so many of them, I recognized, even if it was in German, I recognized the writing, what game it was, and so I could check it off. And I ended up with 72 Roland Rights games listed. That was almost 3 years ago when I did that. 2 years, 8 months, 2 years, 9 months ago. and I brought it down to top 20 plus 6 honorable mentions. And one of the honorable mentions was one called Let's Make a Bus Route. But it was honorably mentioned because they didn't sell it in this country. They sold it in Japan. And someone was selling it on, Amazon or something, maybe even BGG, for $90 shipped from Japan. And I was like, no, I'm not spending $90. So I waited, and I waited, and I heard a rumor, and so I waited. And then last year, that company, using the same premise, came out with Get On Board, New York, and London. It depends on how many people are playing. If you play on the New York side or the London side, 2 to 3, 4 to 5. Plays 2 to 5. And the board looks I have played Let's Make a Bus Route, so I know what it looks like. And this is the New York side, and you have this little route, and you're going to be putting things down here to mark your route with your color, and checking off different things that you accomplish on your route. Basically, this is Let's Make a Bus Route in New York, Let's Make a Bus Route in London, but they call it Get On Board in the United States. So there you have it. The next one on my list was Get On Board. Playing 1 to 8 players came out in 2019. Sorry. This is a grid cover set collection path making Roland Rights. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. All of them have been dice Roland Rights, except for Get On Board is a flippin' right. It gives you a direction, and you have to figure it out on your pattern. But we're back to Roland Rights dice. And hex roller, you're making paths in the back, on your sheet of paper, and you're trying to make connections from like 7 to 7 or 3 to 3, or fill out different sections of the sheet. It goes through there. Hex roller. It's pretty basically you're rolling dice, taking the numbers and putting them in their place. So it's not real complicated. But it's hard to get a good thing because there is a lot of chance because of the dice rolling. Okay, so that came out in 2019. So did this one. 2019, it plays 1 to 4 players. It's a set collection and a commodities type of game, and it's called Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. It is a dice playing game, and when you play, you'll be playing with 2 sheets, and these are buildings that you can, by rolling dice, you'll be able to get certain commodities which will allow you to X out certain spots. I don't know if you can see, they have different costs. Over here you have different things you can be doing. You're basically getting, rolling the dice to get the items you need to create a settlement. And best score wins. This one is particularly special for solo players because it has a pad of building options that no two are alike, and there's like 48 of them in that pad. And for solo players, that's the one you can use one of those, and every game will be a little bit different because you're using different buildings with different results. So that is Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. Okay. The next one is one that came out last year in 2022, and it's a flip and write that plays 1 to 6 players. It is pattern building, set collection, and grid covering. And it is Isle of Cats Explore and Drop. It's very new, last year. And in it, you will be flipping cards that have different polyomino shapes with crazy drawn cats on them. And you're going to be taking that color and marking it out on your boat. And you're trying to fit just the right cats shapes in just the right places on your boat. You're trying to rescue these cats from this, I think it's like a sinking island. I've never actually played the Isle of Cats, which is a full game, but I was drawn to this because I really wasn't in the mood of getting that big box game. And this, of course, would be cheaper. It came out last year, so it's very new. And it's another way of playing Isle of Cats without taking up a whole table of space with all the items on it. So that is Isle of Cats, Explore and Draw. The next one is, see, actually, I mean, we've had several Castles of Burgundy, Imperial Settlers, Isle of Cats, and now we have King Domino, where there is an actual game that's not a roll and write or a flip and write. And this is King Domino. I love King Domino, the game. This is King Domino Duel, which means it's 2 players only. It's the only game on my list that is 2 players only. And you are rolling dice, getting shields, pairing shields up and filling in the shields here, trying to create the best pattern of these shields for the greatest score. And again, it's a very simple game. King Domino itself is a simple game, but this again is small and it's doable. The actually the paper that you're writing on has another side that has a little bit extra competition between the two of you. So there you have it, King Domino Duel. And that's the end of my first stack. Now we go to my second stack. And this one is Kokoro, Avenue of the Kodama. Kokoro is a bingo route builder. Bingo route builder. Bingo in that it's a flip and write, so you flip over a card and whatever it says is what you're supposed to be drawing on your board, on your paper. Yeah, it's really, it actually reminds me of another one that's coming up later, in fact, in my top 10, which is why I don't get this one played that often. But Kokoro, Avenue of the Kodama, I need to play it more to try and get the intricacies of it, because there's certain places like earthworms and birdhouses, I think that is, different things that you're trying to connect or come to in your path. So yeah, it's got a little bit of thinking in there. It's not, it's not old maid, but it's, Parcheesi level maybe. So anyway, that's Kokoro, Avenue of the Kodama. I'm putting them over here. This next one is a very small dice game. Oh, by the way, Kokoro came out in 2017. Okay? Now, this one is Low Down the Dice Game, and it came out in 2019. I don't know if you're noticing it, but 2019 is coming up quite a bit when it comes to Roland Rights. Anyway, it is a set collection grid cover. I call it a cross between bingo and tic-tac-toe because you'll each have a little board and you're going to roll dice, and depending on if it's your your turn or someone else's, who gets to pick first the color and the number, and then you just write it on your board, and you're trying to get 3 of a kind or 3 that add up to 10. So basic math, You got to be able to add up to 10. This is a 5, a 2, and a 3. Adds up to 10. This is a 3, 3, 3. They're all the same. And you're just trying to end up with no blank spaces. And everything crossed out. All of them used in either 3 of a kind or adds up to 10. And that's it. That's what this little box holds. Very easy game. Plays 2 to 4 players. And it is definitely a dice game. The next one is also definitely a dice game. And it's Medici, the dice game. Not to be confused with Medici, the game. Medici came out in 2020. And it's an open draft set collection game. It is definitely a rolling one. You're going to roll dice and choose what you want to put in your ship, and then exit out here, and you're trying to get as much as you can in your ships. You got 3 ships in harbor, and you fill one, and then you fill the second, and then you fill the third, and the game is over. It's a cute little game. It does not take any more space than this. You're like, this is the page, and then dice. That's it. Great little game, and it plays 1 to 4. I have played it solo quite a bit. That is Medici, the dice game. The next one is a new one again. This one plays 1 to 4 players. It came out last year in 2022. It's called Next Station London. Next Station London, I saw the Dice Tower played it recently on their channel. But you're going to have a sheet like this, and there's going to be 4 colored pencils at the table. Maximum players 4. And you each start with a different color pencil. But it's the bingo aspect of it is you turn over a card, and everyone uses that same card but with their color, and whatever color you happen to be, you have to start at that color's main station. This is like the London Tube system, their subway system for us Americans. And that's it. You're making a path. You get extra points if you cross the river. You get extra points if you meet different colors in the same station. There's all different ways of getting extra points. And so you're trying to achieve these using the cards as they come up one at a time. It gives you a shape, and you have to, your next line has to go to that shape. And that is Next Station London. The next one is a small one, and I've had it on my list for a while, my wish list for a while, and then I found it for a real cheap price. It's been around since 2015, so it's kind of like, you know, it's not everywhere anymore, but it's called Quinto. It's just a little Pandasaurus card game, yeah, Quinto. And it's a dice game, obviously. And you're going to have, on your paper, you have these 3 lines. And when you roll, you've got to put those numbers on their corresponding line. But the row below, each one, whatever, if you put a number up here, it has to be a higher number here and then a higher number here. You can't go down. For instance, they have a 3 up here, nothing here yet, but an 8 down here. So the yellow is going to have to be between a 4 and a 7 to fill in that thing, and you're trying to fill them all in. That's the game. Quinto is an easy, quick 2 to 6 player game. 2 to 6 players, dice rolling, pattern building. Technically you're just filling in those lines. Next is Railroad Inc., which plays 1 to 4 players. I have Railroad Inc. Challenge Green. There's Railroad Inc. Blue and red, And then there's Railroad Ink Challenge, green, and what is it? Orange? I think. I can't remember. I was interested in the green, so I got the green one. And it plays 1 to 4. I mean, yeah, 1 to 4. It is a dice game. It is a route building, connecting type of roll and write. You'll roll dice. It'll tell you what kind of shapes and what kind of surface. Is it a highway or is it a railroad? And does it have a bridge? Is it a connection? And you're going to be drawing anywhere on your board those symbols somewhere on your board. You have some little extras that you can choose from up here, little wilds and stuff, but that's the base game. The challenge games will have, oh, yellow's the other color. Okay, the challenge ones will have some dice in their color, and this one has green, that amp it up a little, but you don't have to play. You can play straight Railroad Ink, which is basically what I do. I find trying to just, get the best route in the best places for the best score. That's Railroad Ink. It came out in 2020. This one, 2021. I believe the blue and the red came out in maybe 2019, maybe 2020, but I'm thinking it might have been 2019. I didn't check that. The green came out in 2021. Okay, next pile. The next one is another dice game. It also starts with an R, and it's Roland Right, the dice game. Roland Right is a person used in several games. Oof, I got a chill. But this game is a pretty simple one. You are going to be rolling dice and then marking them on your thing, but there's also ways of, you're trying to get a certain pattern of colors, and you've got these things that are trying to get you to get certain patterns on your board, and if you manage that pattern, you get that card with those points. There are cards that will also allow you to erase some of your already filled dots so that you can put a different color there to complete a different goal of pattern. And that is Roll and Write. Simple little thing, coloring in colors and making patterns. Roll and Write, pattern building, set collection. That's that. Okay. Another R game is Rolling America. Rolling America came out in 2015, so it's an older game. It plays 1 to 99. In other words, however many you have in the pad, that's how many you can play. It's a route building game. It's a dice game, obviously, and you have a bag, and you're going to be pulling out dice from the bag and rolling it, and whatever number it is, whatever color the dice is, whatever number's on it, you have to take that color, go to that part of the United States, and write in that number. Yeah. You do have a few options for wilds to change things up or whatever, but that's the game. And what you're trying to do is fill it all in, following the rules, and get the highest score. Beat the other person's score, get the highest score for yourself. However it works, the score goes there. And that's what this game is. So again, it's a simple game, and if you're looking for something simple like that, that's a good choice. Okay. Oh, I actually have to change my page. We're getting down there, right? Okay, so the next one is Second Chance. Second Chance came out in 2019. It's a flip and write. So you flip a card, it gives you a pattern and color, and you put that one in. Mm-hmm. That's it. Yes, there are rules to it, things that can touch or can't touch. But if you've ever played Blocus, there's a similarity in rules. I think the same color slash pattern can't touch each other. So, I mean, that's the complication of the game. But you're just flipping cards, drawing it on your sheet, and trying to fill in every area possible. Second chance is called that because if one flips over and there's nowhere that you can do it, put it in there, you are allowed to do another card, and if you can do that card, then you can continue in the game. If you can't do it two back to back, then you're out of the game. It's a Uwe Rosenberg. He likes polyominoes, and but it's a simple one of his. It's not one of his hard games. So this is Second Chance, a polyomino game. Okay, so this next one is my biggest box, and it's a little different of a game. It doesn't really roll and write or flip and write as in a card flipping, but it's a flick and write. And this is Sonora. Huge box, huge box. I'm telling you, huge box. Sonora has this main board, and you'll be flicking your pieces to try and get into the quadrant you are trying to fill on your paper. Yeah, and if you get in there, then you have the opportunity of doing things on your board. It takes one to four players. Came out in 2020, and it's an area majority set collection flicking game. So it's kind of like a flick and write game called Sonora. What gorgeous art there, even on the board here. It's really cool, and it's really new in my collection. Okay, let's see if that doesn't fall over. Next is Super Skill Pinball. Ramp It Up is the one I have. There are 4 or 5 different Super Skill pinballs. You pick which one you want. They're all basically the same. You just play pinball and write it down. It's a dice rolling game. It's a roll and write. It came out in 2021. It plays 1 to 4 players. I have played it solo. Bingo wise, because whatever the dice roll, everyone chooses what they want to do with it on their board. I'm pretty sure. I've only played it ever solo, so I know what I want, and that's what I usually do. Yeah, whatever. Super Skill Pinball gives you the feel of a pinball machine without all the noise. And but it comes with 4 different boards, and you go for gold, pin pals, high roller, heist, and top speed. And the numbers will move the flippers. The numbers of the dice will give you, send things back and forth across the board. Yeah, it's there. All in Super Skill Pinball. Mine is Ramp It Up. So I ramped it up. Okay. Now, the last 2 we have on this list before I get to my top 10 list are the 2 that are in the medium level. One came out last year in 2022, and the last one came out in 2021. One is a roll and write, and one is a flip and write. So the roll and write that is in the medium level, is harder than the casual level, is Three Sisters. Three Sisters, I mean, you can look at the 2 pages that go with it, and you can tell this is a lot more complicated than Low Down the Dice Game. So that's the cool thing about Roland Rights. There's so many different types, different themes, and different levels of skill needed or brain power needed. Because I don't want to play this after I've worked 8 hours, yeah, in an office. I'm no, mm-mm. But on my day off, when I'm rested and I want to do something a little bit crunchier, I can pull out Three Sisters. And let's see, what is the description? It's a set collection, engine building, grid covering, because technically you're going to be covering up sections, and they give you power so you can X off something. That's an engine builder. You finish these 5, that lets you go and X out something else over here, which, oh, it's the 4th one of that, so now I can X out something over here. It's an engine builder. As you finish things, that's the key to get the higher scores, is to spend some time doing that. And then the other one that is just outside the casual level is Welcome to the Moon. And Welcome to the Moon is a flip and write. Here's the, you got these that you flip over, and there are 8 different boards. I've only played the first one as of right now. I just got this, I think I got it for the Amazon Prime day. Finally, it's been on my wish list for a year and a half. It came out in 2021, so since 2021. Plays 1 to 6 players. Three Sisters plays 1 to 4. This plays 1 to 6, and it's a pattern building race, and it's bingo style in that everyone gets to choose one of these numbers and item pairs. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Different people will choose different ones, but you have to choose the pair. You can't just go this number and this item. No, you have to choose the pair. Unless you're playing solo. There's different rules for solo, which I have played. So this is Welcome to the Moon. Okay. Now my top 10. I got a flipped page here to get to my top 10. Okay, so my number 10 plays 1 to 4 players. Came out last year in 2022. It is a dice rolling game. In it, you're going through a dungeon, and you're battling monsters, and you're collecting sets. It's a set collection battling dungeon crawl, and it's called Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. I really enjoy playing this game. It's number 10 because I have learned that I don't like playing this solo. So I can only play it when I have someone else to play against, because I don't like the solo mode. I don't at all. I've never won it. It's like impossible. It's crazy. And all sorts of people who have played it solo say the same thing. It's crazy. You have 4 different dungeon maps, and you pick one and you roll and you X out or fill in the rooms that number will do. But you have to start at a specific starting point and then crawl through. And when you get to a monster, you have to beat it, and you try and get to the big boss and then beat it. So it is all about Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. That is my number 10. And it's 10 because, hun, I can't play it solo. It's really, really not fun. Not fun for me. Might be for you, if you want that challenge. I don't. Okay, now this one is my number 9. It plays 2 to 5 players. It came out in 2012. I think it's the oldest on my top 10. It's a bingo play because everyone uses the same dice roll. And it's a grid cover. Yeah, it's Quix. It's just this little board here, a little paper. And you're rolling the dice, and you're trying to X out from low to high on red and yellow and high to low on green and blue. And that's the game. I have it at number 9 because yes, I can easily play this, but it's really supposed to be 2 to 5 players if I play this. I have it on my phone. I play it all the time on my phone. I can play a game of Quix on my phone against, myself in less than 3 minutes. It is such a big filler. It's like I can be watching TV and a commercial comes on, so I just pull out my phone and I play a game of Quix before the commercials are done. It is that quick of a game. Very easy, mindless for me. I've played it so many times. I mean, I'm sure I have played it hundreds of times. I don't count when I play a game on my phone against, as a play. It's just a filler for me. And so Quix is my number 9 because it's such an easy game. You can either get this or you can get the app on your phone. Either or. My number 8 is another one that I play mostly on my phone. And I can play it in less than 10 minutes on my phone. And it's Encore. Now, if you're looking at for the app, it's called Nochmal, N-O-C-H space M-A-L exclamation point. Encore exclamation point is again, it came out in 2016 and it's grid coverage. You're rolling dice, you get the color and the number, and you X out that many in that color, but it has to be touching one of the others that has already been, a square that has already been checked off. Not diagonally, but actually orthogonally. That's the game. And you get extra points if you get all of one color X'd out. You get extra points. You get extra points if you fill a whole column. You get points at the bottom there. There's all different ways of getting points. It's a very easy game. Encore, love this thing. Of course, it's a dice rolling game, and it plays 1 to 6. But I just play it on my phone. That's usually where you'll find me playing it because I really like it. Okay, and my number 7 came out in 2019. It plays 2 to 4 players. It's a flip and write. It's a bingo style game, grid covering and set collection, and it's called Silver and Gold. I love my little Silver and Gold. It's first of all, it's a Phil Walker Harding game. Woohoo! Love Phil Walker Harding. And basically you're, quote, pirates looking for treasure, and to find it you need to fill out all the X's on all these islands, and you'll be getting lots of island cards, and there will be a shape flipped over and everyone will X out that shape on one of their cards. When you finish filling a card, you get to pick another one from the row above, and those are replenished. 4 rounds, the game is over. It is a very easy game. I love bringing this up as a beginner game for people who might never have played a flip and write game before or roll and write game. It's so easy, and I just love it. It's my number 7. My number 6. And for Silver and Gold, I really wish they had an app for it. I saw somebody had an app for it, but I'm wondering if it's in another country because I've looked and I can't find an app for Silver and Gold. I don't know where they got their app from, but I couldn't find it because I would get it if I could. A game that I just got, and I found out that there was an app for, and I got it because I like this game so much, and it's my number 6. It plays 1 to 6 players, and it's Super Mega Lucky Box. It came out in 2021, and I fell in love with it right away. Bring this out, and people look at that writing, it's so 70s that it is, and they feel comfortable already. And Basically, you're going to be flipping cards that have a number on it. You're going to have several of these little cards that have numbers on them. And so it's kind of like bingo style where, 7. So you find a 7 on one of your cards. You can't do 7s on every card, just one of your cards, and X it out. Once you have a row or a row or a column, most of them will give you a special thing. X out another a specific number or a number of your choice, or you might get some more lightning or a moon or a star that you can circle off in here. There's all different things that happen with all of this, but it's really not a difficult game. It's an easy game. It's a colorful game, and it's a great one. And there is an app for it as well, which I discovered and have been using for this past week because it's my number 6 game. I love that game. Okay, this game was the other game I had 3 years ago. I had Yahtzee and I had Deadly Doodles. That's it. Deadly Doodles, when I made that list a year and 8 months ago, a year and 9 months ago, this was number 20. And I already owned it. And I was glad that I had it because I like it. It's a simple little dungeon crawl, but not scary. It's a flip and write. You flip cards, and then everyone using those cards will create a line. Here you see they did a straight, an X, and a corner, and a T. Used all 4 of those cards. Different people will do it different ways. Then you score at the end. Did you kill a monster with an axe? Did you get the axe? Did you get the monster? Do you have extra axes? They're worth points. Did you find a bag of gold? Did you sneak past the dragon and steal double the gold? All of that is in this little game. And now, this is also the game that when I mentioned Kokoro reminded me of another game. It's this game. But this game is a little step easier. And I think that's why I get it to the table more often, because it's straight. It's like you choose what you want to do, and there's really no punishment for doing it. You don't want to end up at the end of the game with a monster that you don't have an axe to kill it with. They're in 2 different places, and you have to get both of them. My strategy is always to get the axe first and then go for the monster, because the axe is worth a point with whether I have the monster or not. So I always go for the axe first. Anyway, that is Deadly Doodles. You doodle deadly. I love this. It's by the makers of what was it? It's not something I play. Munchkin. By Steve Jackson Games. Okay, my number 4 is Biblios Quill and Parchment. Biblios Quill and Parchment is a roll and write, and you will have this board. Everyone has this board, and will have your own set of dice. And then up here is everybody board, and there's 2 shifts in this game. The first shift, you're trying to get money or points, and then the second half you spend them for privileges. And you're trying to go up these tracks. You're trying to go up this track. You're trying to get to different. This is a pilgrimage map. You're trying to get to as many cathedrals as you can. I mean, there's all different little things going on. It looks complicated, but it really isn't. I mean, it's more than, playing Uno, but it's not. It's still casual level. There is the game Biblios, and I just did a video. I don't know if it'll go up before this one or not, but I did a video for the king and Me, which is a reimplementation of the original Biblios game. This is the quill and parchment, the Roland Wright of it. So don't get that confused. This is the Roland Wright Biblios quill and parchment. I love this game, and you don't hear too much about it. There are a few people out there who are hyping this up and talking about it and how good it is, and I agree. It is, after all, my number 4 Roland Wright. My number 3, Explorers. Yeah, it's a Phil Walker Harding. Love Phil Walker Harding. Explorers has so many different ways that this board will show up. There are, I don't remember how many cards, but they're also two-sided. So it's like, and they can go in whatever quadrant, which can totally change it. And your goal is to go from village to village, find keys to open temples, and you get points for being around a village. You get points for getting into temples. You get points for foraging for food or finding gems, all kinds of stuff. You're explorers, and I like that. There's so many different things that are going on. Explorers came out in 2021, and it plays 1 to 4 players. It is a pick up, deliver, and set collection game. I didn't tell you what the last couple weren't. Yeah, I've been skipping what kind of mechanisms, and they're my top 10. Why am I doing that? Biblios Quill and Parchment is an action draft, push your luck. In Deadly Doodles is dungeon, set collection, route building. Super Mega Lucky Box is pattern building. And so back to Explorers. Explorers is a pickup, deliver. You pick up a key, you deliver it to a temple, you get points, and a set collection. Get an apple, a fish, and a carrot worth in the same round. Big bucks or big points. This also has an app, and I play it on my app. It's hard to play on my phone because there's a lot going on. These little squares are really small on my phone. They're better on my iPad. But I love that game. And it takes about 15, maybe 20 minutes to play. Yeah, but it's my number 3, Explorers. My number 2 was the number 1 on that list I made almost 3 years ago. It was the favorite of so many people, like 24 of those 25 to 30 lists that I checked. It was on their list, someplace on their list. And it is Welcome to, the original Welcome to, not Welcome to the Moon, which I also have now, but Welcome to. Welcome to is a much more welcoming level of game than Welcome to the Moon. Welcome to the Moon's a little bit more strategic, a little bit tougher, not hard, but a little bit more. And it's also in a medium range, opposed to this, which is in the casual. It plays 1 to 100, or however many sheets you have. It's a flip and write, just like Welcome to the Moon. And, excuse me, it's a bingo style, just like Welcome to the Moon. You'll have 3 numbers and 3 different actions. You have to fill in the numbers. You can choose to or not choose to use the actions. It's up to you. But the number, basically what you're doing is you have 3 streets of houses, and one's end needs to be the lowest number to the highest number. Lowest to the highest, lowest to the highest. There are parks. There are ways to ramp up the value of your little neighborhoods. There's extra points if you happen to put a number where there's a pool, things like that. But yeah, you're creating the perfect neighborhood for your house. Welcome to your perfect house, home. That's my number 2. It came out in 2018. just in time for that list that I made so many years ago. But this one, my number one, came out last year. And what I like about this, first of all, it plays 1 to 8. And what I also like about it is that it's not just rolling dice and writing something down. It is, long shot, the dice game. It's a horse race. And you have the horses and the racing, the racetrack, and you have horses that have specific values. You can buy horses, you can bet on horses, you can try and move them forward, move them back, depending on the dice and what's on the horse. And actually on the player board, you're going to have a player board that's yours. You have a certain amount of money that you start off with, and you can make more money at the concession stand. There's so many different things going on. I love this game. It is a dice rolling game, but it also is betting. It's a bingo style, as in that number is rolled and everyone gets to do something with that number on their player board. And everyone tends to choose different things. So yes, like I said, it came out last year, 2022, and it is my number one current Roland Rights game. I love this game. Now, I can't end without giving you a couple other things. First of all, I mentioned several of these that do have apps, but there are others that have apps as well that are Roland Rights, that I have the app, but I don't have the actual game. And that would include Gongsheng Clever. That's so clever. And it's Gongsheng and on my phone. On tour. I would never play on tour in the actual board Roland Right or Flippin' Right, whatever Roland Right that it is, because the phone or the whatchamacallit, whatever, the phone will figure out which is the best route and give you the most points. Whereas if you do the actual sheet or whatever, you've got to figure out, okay, which is the longest, most, like, no. So I only will play on tour electronically. And then there's Sagrada, which is really not a roll and write, but it's a roll and place game, where it's a big game, real game, but there's an app for it, and that's what I play. No cleaning up, no setting up. I love it. And the rest I mentioned already with the actual game. But there's another short list of games that are still on my wish list. I have one from 2019 called Trails of Tucana, and it is on my wish list. And then one from last year, 2022, called Delicious, which is in the same company family, Pencil First, I believe, that does Sunset Over Water and Floriferous and Herbaceous. Delicious is their roll and write or flip and write. I can't remember which it is. It came out last year. And then I have 4 that are coming out this year. I don't believe any of them have come out yet, but the week that I'm recording this is Gen Con week. If you don't know what Gen Con is, it's the big board game convention in the United States. And a lot of, especially American, here, games tend to be launched and available at Gen Con and after Gen Con. So I have 4 that are on my wish list. One is called Flip Town, which looks very much like a poker roll and write kind of game. It's obviously Old West themed. Then there's one called House of Cats, because cats is a big theme these days in the last few years, ever since Calico and Isle of Cats, and So cats are a big thing, and there's one called House of Cats that looks very colorful cover. And another one called Roll on the Range. Again, we got that Old West kind of feel to it, sound of it. And then another one called Walking in Burano. And I don't remember much about it except that I watched somebody showing and talking about it, and I put it on my wish list because it looked interesting. So there you have it. Those are all of these. And I'll tell you, when I did that list almost 3 years ago, yeah, most of these games hadn't come out yet. Before, from 2018 and earlier, we have 2, 4, 6, 7 of these games came from 2018 and earlier. Well, actually, one more, 2, 4, 6, 8, counting Yahtzee. Since 2019, there are, 12 and 24. 24 of these games. 24 of the 32 games are from 2019 through 2022. In 4 years, 24 of these games. And there's so many others that I haven't even been able to experience. But that's it. This is a very long video, an hour long, but you now have an inkling, a clue about 32 different roll and write and flip and write games. And I hope 1, 2, 5 of them really caught your interest. Check them out. They all should be pretty available since they're almost all pretty new. And until the next time, God bless you and your family, and happy gaming. Happy roll and writing. Bye.